Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at the highlights. Women's Study Center organizes a day-long seminar on Women's Day. English Department debates on violence against women. And we also have some important notifications of the university. Now, the details with your host Asma Khan. On the occasion of International Women's Day, the University of Kashmir organized many functions to commemorate the event. The main function was held in the EMMRC auditorium. The Women's Study Center, in collaboration with Dean College Development Council, the Department of Students' Welfare and Department of Law organized day-long seminar. The seminar was organized on sensitization of police and media personnel in curbing violence against women. The seminar started with a documentary produced by the senior research scientist Dr. Salima Jan and Ms. Binish Bhatt of EMMRC, titled Eve's Silent Nightmares.
आई थिंक हर कोई लड़का ये चाहता है कि मैं कूल बनूंगा अगर मैं किसी लड़की को पीछे पीछे चलूंगा या आप उसको फॉलो करोगे.
Of course, they're more than prevalent in our city. They happen on a day-to-day basis, every day when you travel.
अगर आपके साथ जाती होती है तो आप थाने में आ जाइए बिला मतलब डर के आपकी जो कार्रवाई होगी वो हो जाएगी.
DCDC Professor Nilofer Khan, while presenting the welcome address, said that all the people should come together for the emancipation of women.
I'm sure that we all need to make individual efforts and work in a coordinated form in order to work together and curb down this menace, whether it's eve teasing, whether it's dowry menace, whether it's divorce rates or any other problem that women face. Why we thought of this particular seminar, as per the schedule, we see that different resource persons will be interacting to see what laws are there, what machinery is there in place, and what are the lacunae, and how we can strengthen up this particular machinery in order to have the less rate of crime against women.
DSW Professor Fayaz Ahmed stressed the importance of organizing seminars for creating awareness about the moral values.
I believe the greatest revolution was Qulu la ilaha illallah tuflihun. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam educated that Arab area wherein women were not treated sensibly. Women were buried alive, and probably all of us are witness to the episode which was narrated to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when the episode was being narrated, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Please stop, don't go beyond it." But today in the civilized world, don't we do the same thing in a civilized manner? There is something wrong with the system. That the system is not in place, system somehow has broken down, which somehow compels us to actually re-educate ourselves that what is our role, what we should do, what we should not do.
Speaking on the occasion, Deputy Inspector General of Police, Central Kashmir Range, Mr. Ghulam Hassan Bhatt said there are unnecessary stereotypes being associated with the police force which prevent the women to register complaints.
There are serious certain specific reasons for the lack of appropriate response to offences against women in police. The cult of masculinity prevalent in the department makes the police officers hold some stereotypes about violence against women. The stereotypes lead to certain standard patterns of police response, like rape being a victim precipitated crime, non-serious response to cases of sexual harassment to workplaces and eve teasing, marital right of man to discipline his wife, irrational and nagging attitude of women are unfortunately still ruling the roost in our society.
The Vice Chancellor, Professor Khurshid Iqbal Andrabi, said that the people have to come out of the confusion between modernity and traditional value system.
We have somehow gotten into a race to be modern, at the same time to be conservative. See, there are two kinds of options in the world. You will see the least bit of crime against women in societies which are so-called advanced, or in societies which are so-called conservative. So the choice is ours, whether we want to be so-called modern or we want to be so-called conservative. You cannot have the both. When a baby is born in a Desi couple in US, because of his culture at home versus the culture outside, he is rendered to be called ABCD, American born, confused Desis. Because they neither meant Americans nor are they Desis. We have somehow gotten ourselves involved into what we call disorganized growth. Somehow we have, in the heart of hearts, we are in an inferiority complex that we want to be as good as Westerners are.
He advised the people to stop seeing different cultures from the perspective of the West.
We have somehow deliberated upon things without looking at data. The most important part is that the so-called, what we call conserved communities, who are enshrined into their beliefs, who are more or less very stuck to their basic fundamentals, they do not have these kind of problems, but then we start crying that the women are suppressed in those societies. It is not because women are suppressed in those societies, it's because we are looking at them from the perspective of the West. Somehow, West tells us something that we are looking at parity. I am sure this parity is only for the job and education, nothing else. The rest of the situations, we don't want to have parity. Why would a mother dispense with the right of being treated much better than the father? We are not looking for parity there. We are looking for parity only for job. So keep it restricted to job and keep it restricted to education. Otherwise, we are good enough with our own culture. We are good enough what we call conserved culture. We are not as good and ideally suited for what we call modern culture.
Later, technical sessions were held in which academics, journalists, scholars, and police personnel presented their views. They highlighted the problems that women face in their daily life. They also discussed possible methods through which women's problem can be redressed.
Senior police officers are sensitized about the crime against the woman, but it is the lower constabulary, that is the lower rank of police officers, who has to deal with the woman problems.
In order to deal with an alarming situation of domestic violence, in 2005, an act titled as the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence was passed. The act is aimed at providing for more effective protection of the rights of women.
The density of the women in the institutions of learning and education are more than their number isn't. So the probability of they being harassed, teased are more in these institutions.
The best thing to sensitize media and police personnel is to liberate this truth from these layers of ideologies.
They said, had there been more women cops and women police stations, things would have been different. The experts also discussed mechanism and laws available for the women folk to safeguard their dignity and honor.
The issue is really very serious. Just by discussing, it can't be addressed. Society has to come forth. Once the society awakens, I think the change will definitely come. Police will do its work, media will do its work, and everybody will fall in line.
If a woman is putting her labor from dawn to dusk, our society is, we make our women to work in the offices and also at homes, double shift. And irony of this is that despite of doing so much of hard labor and earning and creating assets, national income of the country doesn't account that. No contribution of the woman in the national account.
Media trial of women issues, use or abuse. This is concerning the media hype which is made out of some of the issues which may be trifle sometimes, which may have a greater magnitude.
What's important is that we have to create an atmosphere where a woman, irrespective of her status, irrespective of her knowledge, irrespective of her economical, or the educational status, she is respected as a woman, as a sister, as a daughter. That will start, as Professor Nilofar Khan was saying, that starts right from the home.
A question-answer session was also held, during which people from various walks of life posed queries to the experts. The Department of English, in collaboration with Kashmir Center for Social and Development Studies, organized a seminar on violence against women as a constant threat to their safety and dignity, and revisiting patriarchy. The function was held in the Humanities Auditorium. A number of academics, scholars, civil society members discussed the significance of liberating women from violence. They said that women must gain control over their lives and have equal share in their decision-making. Many scholars argued that women's struggle is for social justice and equality, which they should have in a civilized society. Scholars from various departments and centers spoke about the violence against women in all forms and how they would engage with the patriarchal culture which condones violence against women. Scholars were forthright in their experiences and put forward some suggestions also.
First thing that we can do is, we girls and women in general already have our notions of what men ought to be like. So we as women ought to and need to come out of our definitions of what you mean by a good man, what you mean by a man. And by man, we certainly do not mean a tough and a silent kind of a guy. By man, we mean a kind of a man who learns and has already learned to respect a woman. And respecting a woman starts at the level of family.
More and more today, the responsibility is on the younger generation to engage in a dialogue. We don't have to fight. We don't have to quarrel. We don't have to argue. You have to engage in a dialogue with your parents. Let's start from the home. Home, your father. Now I am a daughter and my father. Now it's my responsibility to educate him. Patriarchy is not only male domination nowadays, it's also how certain organizations and cultural narratives function. So it is also patriarchy is acting on various levels, and the best way is to educate, dialogue, don't fight always, dialogue, understand and educate.
Once you live in a society, in a patriarchal society, it creates a certain subjectivity. It creates an idea of a man who is supposed to behave a certain way. And if that man refuses to conform to that idea, life gets absolutely difficult.
Later, speaking to the Quest team, Head Department of English, Professor Hamida Naeem said that although women have progressed a bit, but invisible assumptions affect their treatment in the society.
We can take some satisfaction so far as the education of women is concerned. It has made good progress in Kashmir. They have also made good progress so far as the economic empowerment is concerned, like jobs. They have equal opportunities of jobs. But what is the gray area is that there is no human empowerment. We have not been able to change the structural inequalities by which women are subjected to systematic injustice in the society, discrimination in the society. And there is an invisible set of assumptions and postulates by which actually governs the entire society and which affects the treatment of women in the society. And those invisible assumptions are that woman is inferior to man. And because of this understanding, because of this mindset, she is subject to so many injustices in the society.
She said that the need of the hour is to change the collective perception of the people in order to break this patriarchal structure.
There is a need of a concerted effort of academia, of media, of civil society to work together to bring about, to break this fold, to break this tyrannical patriarchal structure and bring women at par with women so far as their human state is concerned. And there's a need to work to break this fold, to change the mindset of people, to change the collective unconscious of the people, by which they automatically, as if they have taken it as a gospel truth, that they have to treat women in an inferior way.
Some of the participants also spoke to the Quest team and said that the structural inequalities by which women are subjected to systematic injustice and violence have not been eliminated.
We need to engage with it at various levels, and this is one of those. Unless and until we come forward, talk about it and engage with it at levels like university, this is one of the steps that is definitely required. There are other ways of dealing with patriarchy. We need legal remedies. We need to deconstruct the socially held beliefs and everything else. But this is one of the ways to tackle with it, because patriarchy is deep rooted.
Women are discriminated globally and especially in subcontinent. So this is a serious problem. I'm glad that some serious issues were raised, because again in our valley the situation is not becoming better, it's becoming worse. There's a certain interpretation of religion which is being promoted, which is used as a means to support discrimination, support patriarchy, support all kinds of prejudices, and that's very sad. I mean, for example, if you look at the old mosques in Kashmir, they had space for women. Right now that space is shrinking.
Now some important notifications. Dear viewers, this year the university is going to start supplementary shift in various postgraduate courses on merit basis. In this regard, the candidates who are interested to seek admission in such programs are hereby directed to apply online from March 16 at 2 p.m. onwards to March 21st and submit a printout copy of same in the concerned departments. Those who have already submitted an application in the concerned department are directed to resubmit online and a hard copy. The provisional admission to the BA, BSc, BCom, BBA, BCA, MCMP third year class to the students who appeared in the second year annual examination 2015 would end up by March 30 in their respective colleges on the payment of non-refundable admission fees of ₹50. To know more about these, log on to kashmiruniversity.ac.in or kashmiruniversity.net. With this, we come to the end of today's program. In case you have missed some part of the program, log on to emmrckashmir.com where you can watch whole episode. Send us your suggestions at our email address quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. Maturity begins when one lives for others.